Several years ago, a wise person taught me the importance of balance. She taught me the importance of naming my losses one by one when I needed to. And she taught me to give myself time and space to feel the heaviness of each one of them. But lest I become waylaid and crippled under the weight of my sadness, when I was feeling heavy-laden, she encouraged me to think of people and places and moments that brought me joy. One certainly did not cancel out the other, but it was a way to strive to create equilibrium in a time that was skewed toward heaviness. And though that was by no means a magic cure for my grief, we know that that does not exist. It proved to be a very helpful practice. And I find myself going back to that whenever I feel overwhelmed with situations that are out of my immediate control. And during the past 2 months of COVID-19, there's been a lot that's been out of our control. And I imagine there have been times when we've all felt overwhelmed with change, uncertainty, sadness, losses of many different kinds. I think about the people of Israel. When their holy city was destroyed, they used lament as a way to express their feelings. And so significant were those laments that they made it into the Hebrew canon. When we read them now, they help us to remember that feelings of despair, but also frustration and confusion and anger and fear are all part of the human experience. And they help us remember the importance of naming what we're feeling and acknowledging their significance. Let's take some time right now to share some of our laments for our world, our nation, our community, ourselves.
We all face changes in our normal way of living. We sometimes lose electricity due to storms, or having to pack up for a home remodeling, or recovering from an illness, or the loss of a loved one. Some of these changes are easy to fix, and others can be complex and take a longer time to heal. My lament is having to adjust to the changes brought on by this pandemic.
I think I lament the loss of a routine to be able to work outside the home and have childcare to facilitate being able to work outside the home.
I miss about going to school and seeing friends and going to see family.
I am a big extrovert, and I am really, really missing all of that human interaction.
I'd say what I've been missing the most is being able to see people, whether it's someone I've known for years or a complete stranger.
Sometimes our own company gets very old very soon.
One thing we miss the most or are sad about is just the ability to be in close contact with family and also with our good friends at First Baptist Church.
I'd say I've been missing youth group the most because I'm missing our regular deep discussions and fun games that we play. I'm extremely thankful that we can all see each other online. It's just not quite the same.
Going to church, spending time with extended family members, eating out at restaurants, and hanging out with friends. Those are things that I took for granted.
As a high schooler, one lament that I have, and I know many others are having, is the lack of connections that I usually get to experience with my friends or even random people that I might meet on a trip to the grocery store.
The freedom to just run simple errands when you need to grab a gallon of milk from the store. Just run in, grab a gallon, get back out.
I'm really missing just being able to go anywhere that I want without having to wear a mask.
Just giving my friends a huge hug every time I get to see them, because I feel like it's those physical connections that we make with people that make things so much more meaningful.
While worried about being exposed ourselves, we were unable to see our children and their spouses. We have our first grandchild on the way, so we've been concerned about the health of our daughter-in-law and the baby.
The ability to see family and friends for times of celebration, but also to hug them and hold them close in times of sadness and mourning, neither has been really possible in this time in person, unfortunately.
I know personally our family has missed out on several what would have been celebrations, great occasions together. And I think of other families at this time who are missing on life's big events too. Graduations and weddings and births and funerals.
I've been working 10 to 11-hour shifts as an essential employee in the safety department at Securus, a flu and pandemic preparedness site in Holly Springs. Everything began for me on March 13th when all non-essential employees were sent home and I was left to continue working. I've prayed every morning since then for the protection of my family, my coworkers, and the whole community as I go through each day.
My greatest sadness about this pandemic is the loss of life. Every life that's been lost to this is a tragedy, no two ways about it.
And hard to understand the conflicting facts we seem to be getting, or lack of facts, and leadership, no matter what party you want to talk about.
The world has changed, and although everybody is hoping it will all go back to normal, I don't think it will ever go back to the way it was before.
Of course, we're all dealing with it on different levels, but what we all do have in common is that we are facing isolation from our family and friends, and we're facing fear. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
We hear these concerns, and we know that there are many others to be named within our church family and beyond. And we know that they can feel heavy at times. So, in an effort to seek equilibrium, in a time that feels skewed toward heaviness, let's shift our focus for a moment. Maybe you've noticed it before as you've walked to the sanctuary from the Lewis building, but out in the garth, pressed down into the earth, with moss growing along the sides, is a colorful stepping stone. It commemorates the time 20 years ago when we had to leave our church building for a good part of a year for asbestos removal. The stepping stone itself is made with stones that we were given during our last worship service before we had to vacate the building. And we held on to those stones. We took them home, put them in a safe spot, held on to them with hopeful expectation that God would be with us and that God would lead us to be the church regardless of where we were meeting. The symbol within the concrete stepping stone is an anchor cross made from an array of blue-cut glass. It's a symbol found repeatedly in the inscriptions in the catacombs of Rome that has long communicated hope in the steadfast nature of God. The artist Susie Osborne named her work Watching the Clouds. On Sundays, when I'm walking down the hallway to the sanctuary for streamed worship, I often look out into the garth and that blue glass catches my eye. And it reminds me of the God that we serve, steadfast and faithful, solid and strong. And that gives me hope as I walk into a sanctuary with empty pews. Remembering that it is God who anchors us. Let's name some of our hopes.
My wish for the future is that we all remain healthy and that we can go from being church to being at church. I miss my church family.
Some things that keep me hopeful are seeing all of my Sunday school friends in our virtual meetings and all of my theater friends in our virtual meetings.
I'm hopeful because we are all together. We can stay with our families right now.
I hope we'll remember that, this time of social distancing and other protective measures was a time where we put we above me, where, we put the protection and health of really everyone above any, single one person, that some of that mentality hopefully will carry over.
I really, really love seeing all the positive things on social media.
As people of faith, I hope that we can use this time to strengthen our relationship with God and talk to Him more, because He can help us through the tough times like this.
After this pandemic is over, I hope that as a whole world, we continue to value the stronger relationships we built with people as a result of the pandemic.
When this is over and we go back to whatever our normal is, I hope we never forget this time and how much we needed each other and how much we depend on each other for strength and survival.
I've kept up my faith by praying and just trying to keep others happy during this time.
One thing I'm hopeful about is that when all of this is over, we will all appreciate the time we have together and seek to find ways by which we can connect more with everyone around us.
In this time of change, hope is on the horizon, and in time we can adjust to a new normal and become more social and return to a sense of renewal to assume our everyday routine.
I also hope that when this is over and we all get to be together again, that we take advantage of the connections that we do get to make with people and show kindness to all our loved ones and anyone else that we may meet.
And then also that in our community, we'll continue to see and appreciate the contributions of, I think, many people who we took for granted, such as the folks that work in grocery stores that have helped keep us fed during this time. And so I hope we'll continue to keep that mentality of seeing many people who help make our normal lives normal.
I'm hoping that everybody can use this time to their advantage to grow their connection with God and have faith during it.
And maybe my hope for the future would be that we can come together better as a people of this nation, a people of this world, and work together to make this world the place that God always intended it to be.
Psalm 91 offers us hope, saying, "He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom will I trust."
Human nature is to never give up, and I won't give up. And I hope we'll all remember in the future to be more concerned about our fellow Americans and realize that it starts with the individual.
We will get through this, being tested but stronger in our knowledge that our faith is all we have to get through times like this. We will continue to pray for God's providence for our family, for First Baptist Church Raleigh, and for the entire world. Whatever this new normal will be, faith, hope, and love will carry us all through.
I'm super excited for the day that we all can see each other again and share our excitement.
Please join me in prayer. Dear God, thank you for hearing our laments as well as our hopes and for valuing each one. In the array of human experiences, Thank you for providing moments of joy to balance sadness, for reasons for hope to balance despair. May we remember that you are the one who anchors us and gives us every reason to hope. In the name of Christ, we pray. Amen.